Well, thank you so much for being here. Icon agent. How does it have a nice ring to it?
It does. It's weird still. Like I'm still kind of like, whoa, I really did it.
You did it. I remember talking to you initially. So you were sponsored by Amy, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a call, you and your hubby, and this is way back when you were even deciding if you want to join or not. And then you joined and you were like, and then I met you in person at Amy's retreat and you were like, I'm going to icon. And then I got a text message that you were like, this deal is going to icon me. That is so awesome.
I know. I was pretty excited.
So
that's my dog.
Oh, you're totally fine. This is more of a conversation. The idea is, to teach others, the saying, each one teach one. So if you could give advice to, somebody who's watching this who also wants to icon. So this is going to be posted inside of the Team Gogo YouTube channel for the icon series. So the idea is just to, help others. If they have an idea that they want to icon, maybe they can icon with your ways, right? I interview all of the icons in the Team Gogo organization and everybody kind of does it a little different. So let's back it up a little bit and tell me, like, how long you've been an agent and where did you start?
So I got my license in May of 2019. So I'm about 2.5 years in.
Wow. You icon in your third year of real estate?
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. So where are you located?
Austin, Texas.
What's an average price range in Austin?
Now I would say probably around 500.
Okay. So it's a little easier for you to
it is, yeah.
Cap, right? Than it is for us. For us, it's about 300. But then iconing 20 deal is 20 deal, right? So I could be doing 20 deals for 100,000 each or 20 deals for 500,000 each. The work is the same. So where would you say your leads come from?
I'm referral based.
Okay.
I would say that probably over 90% of my business is referral based and has been since day one. I know you don't purchase any leads and I try not to. I just was curious when I first started out. So one day, it was probably more than a year ago, I paid for one lead. It was like $35. And I've since paid for like another lead just to test it out. But I always go back to what you say. Like, I think organic is a lot better. Yeah. I've had zero luck with those two leads.
Yeah. So referral meaning that the lead comes from another agent that says, hey, Stephanie, I have these sellers in Michigan. They want to move to Texas. Would you take them as buyers?
I have some of those, but actually, I guess maybe I should use the word sphere. It comes from a sphere.
Okay. So not agent to agent referral. Mostly it's like past clients, friends, Facebook friends, those kind of referrals. Oh, those are nice because they're 100% commission. So you don't have to give 25% away.
Yeah. And they already trust you because someone else that they trust referred you. So it kind of makes that, it's more like a warm lead instead of just like you having to, not that I wouldn't prove myself to them anyway, but there isn't like that ice that has to be broken because they kind of already come in knowing like you're going to take care of them.
Yeah. So it's a warm lead, right? Yeah. It's not a cold lead because they've been massaged already. They have heard about you. You came highly recommended or they followed you for a while. So what do you think is the number one skill or number one system or number one thing or number one mindset or number one, whatever that thing is that you think like that's the reason why you iconed?
I think just my persistence, like once I set my mind on a goal, there's no stopping me. Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try it, even if I fail.
I always say there's no plan B, there's plan A.
I'm just going to give it my all and we'll see where it goes.
So did you have, I know you said, I'm going to icon, but did you actually do the math? Like, did you know going into your year, how many transactions that's going to take for you? Or did you just set the 20 deals and like, you know what I mean? Like with your 5,000, it's going to take you 5.5 deals to cap, right? And then it's going to be 20 more. So 25.5 in your case to icon. Did you go into the year knowing those numbers?
No. So I just went in with, I need to cap and then do 20 transactions totaling $5,000. And in fact, when I talked to you about it in May, I thought I was going to icon. And then I realized after talking to you that some of the leases that I had, because I don't like to do leases. But there were a few that I had, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to icon with these. But then I learned that there's actually a minimum commission.
Yeah.
So when I left there, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to icon, because I had counted those as part of the transactions. And I was just like, you know what? It's okay. Like, and I just went back and I started, it's the power of manifesting. I started writing in my journal every day that I had iconed and that these transactions had closed. And so before I knew it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really going to happen.
Oh, that's awesome. So are you a visual learner? Do you write things down? Do you walk around with a notebook? Like, how do you make things happen? How do you visualize that, right?
I'm a visual learner.
Yeah, me too. I always have a notebook, right? And I have to write everything down. But after my brain sees, my eyes see it, right? Then I can imagine it with my brain. So I always have to like write it down first. Do you write things down?
So I have to hear it and then write it. And I'm also very hands-on. So I'm just one of those that, for me to remember, not only, like if I were to hear it only, I won't remember it. I've got to write it down.
Yeah.
And then like see it.
That's awesome. So isn't this awesome? Like I have to see it in order for me to remember it, right? Like my eyes have to see it. I close my eyes, I see it in my, third eye, right? And then I remember it for the rest of my life. If you told me that same information verbally, maybe 30% of them I would retain.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. So you are audio, you learn through your ears, I learn through my eyes. So then what does a day look like in your life, Stephanie?
Well, I know they say you shouldn't get on your phone right away, but I like to, because that's just how I work. I like to see what messages have come through overnight. And I prioritize based on that. Depending if I have, anything closing or just whatever is more time sensitive, that's going to be something that I address first. And then, I don't know, I just, my calendar pretty much dictates what my day is going to look like.
That was my next question. Are you a scheduled person? Can you show me your calendar?
I live by my calendar. Let me pull it up. Well, you can't see it this way, but I've just got different
little buttons. Okay. Show me the monthly view.
The monthly view. It'll just have like little dots on all the days that I have. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And so I have two calendars, my personal and my work calendar. And I keep them separate, but they show up together just so I know. And it's, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening.
Same. So is training, do you think training is important?
Training? Yeah, I do.
Are those on your calendar automatically, and do you honor it, or do you end up going and showing the house right at Wednesday at 1:00, right?
They're on my calendar, and I tried to schedule around them, but that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you just have to go based off of your client's availability. So
but you try, like that's more important than going showing the next house. If you absolutely cannot, it's when you schedule at the same time. Got it. So did you bring anything for us? Maybe some bullet points, something that you want to cover, make sure that everybody that is thinking about iconing, they know about how to your way?
I think that the more people that you talk to, the more that know that you're a realtor. That's important. I think networking is really important. And I know you talk about this all the time, about your network being your net worth. Yeah. And so being an introvert, when I got into real estate, like I really had to learn to put myself out there, and I'm still working on that. Yeah. But I've definitely,
believe it or not, I'm naturally an introvert. If I'm in a situation where I don't know people, I am not one to walk up to you and be like, hey, I'm Gogo. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I could never do it. But for money, knowing that if my kids are not going to eat this month, right? Unless I go do that, then I can do that because that's a job. But that's not my natural element either. Like,
yeah, I'm exactly the same. So like, if you put me in a room at a party, I'm not going to go up to you and talk to you. No way. It's just very uncomfortable. And so when I got into real estate, I really had to work on that. And I make, because it's my job, I do make an effort to network and go to events and get to know people. And I think for some of the newer agents, I think it's really important, because I think they think that, oh, well, I don't need to know another lender, or I don't need to know another realtor. But those relationships actually can bring you additional leads because, and I think you just don't think about that because at like the traditional brokerage, you just don't think about referring people to other agents.
Yeah.
And at EXP, it's such a big part of our business. So I would say, network as much as possible, even if it's with other people in the industry, but also, and I just learned this, something so simple from another agent on another call where like, just start leaving your business card, like when you go to a restaurant and you're, paying your bill or like, just, so people know what you do. And you never know because somebody might be looking for a realtor and they just, talked to you for 15 minutes at dinner and thought you were, a good fit and they would give you a call. So that, and I also think tracking is important. I know that EXP does it for you, but sometimes they're slow and I like to see my numbers. Yep. And so I actually created my own spreadsheet that tells me, like the client, the property address, what my commission is going to be, what the 5% stock amount is going to be that's going to be taken out. Like I get very detailed about it. So I know exactly how much I've paid in company stocks. I'm sorry, how much I've contributed to company stocks, and just how much, commission I've made, how much I've paid in transaction fees, which I started adding that this year. So yeah, I like to see
I wasn't tracking my stock contributions. And in the end of the year, I'm like always like, hey, Christy, how much did I pay in? And then it's such a hassle to go back and track it, right? So we added that this year too. But it hasn't been, even though I had my tracker all these years, it just never been an option all these years, right? So we just never added it to that. So I agree with you that, tracking and seeing your own numbers, it's so important in my opinion, because then you also know of like, oh my gosh, I'm only one transaction away from capping. Oh my God, I'm only one transaction away from iconing, right? So, and also, or maybe it shows, oh shoot, I'm 5 transactions away from iconing and I only have 2 months, right? So now I need to like pick up the speed. So absolutely tracking. Would you be so kind and share your tracker, like a blank version of your tracker with the group? I'll have Mariana reach out to you after the training and then we'll just put it under the video. So if anybody needs a copy of your tracker, they could be using that.
It's a little bit manual because, obviously once you cap, then the percentages change and sometimes it's not a full 6% like we do here. So some of it can be manual, but I've got the, the header on top and it kind of, the columns and everything. So it's been really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that was what kept me on track really was I would look at that and I showed that I had, icon, but the EXP system hadn't shown it yet. So I was like, well, did I? Like, I was starting to doubt myself.
That's awesome. That's such a good feeling, achieving all of those things, right? Your first deal, you get $200 worth of stocks, capping, another $200. All of those things that we get to track and see it grow. If you're not tracking it, you can't see how far you came, right? So I love that. What do you think your biggest weakness is?
Systems.
I
feel like that was one of the things because when I got my license in 2019, I immediately reached out to my sphere and was like, hey guys, I'm doing this. I've joined this brokerage. And I just started getting phone calls and that brokerage was an independent. And so we didn't have any, like I literally had no systems from them. They did provide a CRM, but it was like a really cheap CRM and I didn't like it. And so I didn't use it, but I was always so busy. I never actually got to sit down and find a system, find a CRM that I liked. But I actually committed to doing that. And I just signed up for Follow Up Boss. I know we have KV Core, but I like the Follow Up Boss interface a lot better. And so I've, uploaded all my contacts into that and I'm going to start using that. So I knew that was one of my weaknesses was like identifying the systems that I would like and want in place. And so that way this year, in 2022, I'll be able to have all that instead of just I can
hear your dog snore and I want to be right now taking a nap so bad. It's so cute. So what do you think are My next question was kind of along those lines of like, what do you think were the actual steps you've taken this year? Like you said events and you said, sphere of influence and all that. Let me quote like, but how many of those leads, like, so those 26 deals that it kind of took you to Icon, how many came from which pool, you would say?
I would say my sphere.
Your sphere, all of it. So do you feel like sphere as a...
Not all of it, but I would say majority. So I had 34 transactions.
Yeah.
And without looking at that sheet, I would say that majority of that was sphere, and there were maybe 2 referrals or 3 referrals in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I call sphere too, like, for example, let's say if you go once a week to a local event, like maybe it's your friend's book club, right? And then all of the ladies end up buying or selling homes with you, or maybe it's church every Sunday and then all of the people buy and sell with you. I still call that my sphere, right? Because I know them personally, but it's an additional action step I've taken by actually showing up physically. I also call my sphere that even if I don't see them all the time, but because they see me on Facebook, just because I know them personally, I still put them into the sphere bucket, even though I really kept in touch with them through social media. Does that make sense? So is there anything like inside of your sphere bucket that you would say, it's my book club, it's my yoga club, it's my, or what do you call it? How often do you actually see those people that bought and sold with you this year? Like, do you see them all the time, or is just kind of know them from high school?
I would say I probably don't see them. They just know that I'm there. And
how do they know you're there? That's my next question, because we're going to have to get to the bottom of like, okay, so if you don't see them in person, how do they know of your existence? How do you remind them for what you do for a living?
Probably Instagram, just because they're connected to me on my personal account as well as my work account. So they constantly see, that I'm posting about real estate. I could do a better job of that too, but I do a couple a week. And so they see that. And I think that reminds them that, oh yeah, she does this.
So you see, you kind of do the same thing I do. You call it sphere, but even though it's technically social media, right? Yeah. It's the systems that you're using are social media. The people that you're targeting is your sphere. Yeah. Right. But what you do in order to get to your sphere, that's why I'm asking, do you go to events, do you sponsor a little league? Do you go to church and talk about real estate? Do you go to people's houses for, drinking wine and reminding them that what you do for a living? So you take the social media route. That's the same.
Yeah, I think social media would be the main route. I do newsletters on occasion as well. But I haven't done any events. Yeah. I haven't done any of that yet. I'll probably add that in the future.
Do you think you want to pick that up?
I think so. Yeah. I think I would like to add events at some point. I'm trying to work on that.
Do like a quarterly customer appreciation event, right? That you can have your title company, your lender kind of pitch in, and then you can reach out to the past, 60 people that you worked with and kind of, go from there. How about agent attraction? Did you end up building a team or organization in the same year, or were you very busy with transactions?
So my first year, my goal was to icon. So I didn't focus on agent attraction at all. And that's something that I want to focus on this year. But right now I have 3 people in my organization.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So even you didn't try, you still did.
Yes.
Did you know that less than 10% of the agents have anyone in their downline?
I heard that. Yeah.
But even with the 3 that you didn't try, right? You fall into the top 10% of the company.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So imagine when you start trying.
I've been trying. It's not easy.
No, it's not. But you kind of have to get okay with the shameless self-promotion, right? And the bragging, and look at my company, look at my numbers, look at my stocks, and look at my, right? So it's like you kind of have to constantly remind, look what I have and you don't. So then they have the what's called the FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah. And I've slipped that in there. But I feel like we have a lot of people who look but don't actually take action, I'm sure they're seeing it, but they haven't said anything. And then the one that joined recently, she said she had been seeing it on my Instagram. I actually don't know how she got connected to me, but she said she had been watching it for months and she kept telling herself, I need to reach out to her. and she never did. And then I think I posted something one day. I think it may have been, oh gosh, I don't know if it may have been a picture of me and you from Arizona. And that triggered her. And so then she reached out. And so she
you never know,
finally,
right? You never know who's watching. You never know
Yeah.
when they are ready to finally listen, right? And you never know what's going to make him finally pull that trigger. It could be the fact that we have health insurance. It could be the fact that they get Gogo's Bootcamp. It could be the
Yeah.
fact that the icon program, they can earn their cap back. It could be the fact that, you know what I mean, that they're the same nationality as you are, or they, you know what I mean? Like, I get people all kinds of walk of life. The fact that I have a bulldog, or my son is type 1 diabetic and they have a type 1 diabetic son, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what are the reasons that they find you and follow you. And then eventually, by earning their trust, they're going to hopefully to also decide to be business partners with you. So you just have to continue doing what you've been doing, right? Because it's working. People are watching, as you can see. You just need to do more of that. And you know, when I joined, iconing was reason number one for me too. But in the same time, it was tax and revenue share. So all three of them really.
Right.
I knew my work ethic, and I knew if I'm going to pull my weight here, why not get paid here 3 different ways, right? So you can do it. I told my husband I'm going to work like a mad woman for 3 years. So then I don't ever have to work again, right? And now this is year 3, and truly I don't ever have to work again. I still do though, right? It's difference between having to work and wanting to work.
Right.
It's a totally different feeling when you don't have to chase the commissions anymore.
Yeah, no, eventually that will be, you know, that's the goal.
But you're going to put some overtime in for the next few years then.
Yeah, no, I know my work ethic too, so I'm willing to put the time in.
That's awesome. So if you could give someone advice, you know, like if there was like 3 tips, like no matter how small or how big, what would those 3 be for someone to icon next year? Could be as simple as a mindset, an adjustment to your daily schedule. You know, what did you tweak anything? You were like, holy shit.
Yeah, actually what I did do was start journaling, like writing it out as if it had already happened. Cause I didn't do that. I know, like I talk, you know, in the groups, you know, in our team meetings and everything, a lot of people talk about doing that. I've never been one to do that. I came back from Arizona and I started doing it. And I don't know. I was surprised by it because I started writing this and manifesting these things, and then it would happen. And so
an example, what does that look like? Like if you were to sit down tonight to write into your journal, write something that you want to happen in the future, but you're talking as if it already happened, what does that look like and sound like to someone that has no idea what you're talking about?
You mean like, what do I write out?
Yeah. What does that actually sound like? How do you write what you want?
I just write it in the present. Like I write it as if it already has happened.
Give me an example.
You know, so like when I was trying to icon, instead of saying I want to icon in my journal, I wrote I icon. You know, I'm an icon agent. And I just kept repeating that in my journal. So whatever the goals were, you know, if it was for that month or for the week, I wrote it as if it had already happened. And I think that's also part of the mindset. Yeah. So yeah, having the right mindset definitely makes a difference. Writing it out and seeing the goals makes a huge difference too. There's another agent under Amy, Jessica Lopez. She has like a little frame of like, I don't know if it's like a little dots or houses that she checks off because she was trying to icon as well, and she has. It did happen.
I didn't know that. I have to congratulate her.
Yeah, so I think you have to be able to see it. Like you have to write it down, or it's not gonna, you know, if you don't write your goals down, it's not gonna happen because you're not seeing it every day and being reminded that this is your goal.
Yeah. Tip number 2. I wrote down journaling for tip number 1.
Tip number 2, tracking. You need to know your numbers. You need to see it and be able to, I get that, you know, EXP has systems that show you those numbers too, but I have this spreadsheet. It's open all the time. And when I turn my computer on, it's there and I look at it every day. So it keeps me on track, you know, towards my goals. And the third thing, I mean, I would say like the networking. I try to network as much as I can. I go to lunches and, coffee dates with lenders and just, even we had our Christmas party last night, the EXP Christmas party at this really cool venue. And I, talked to some lenders there, and it's always good. Like, you have your preferred, lender, title company, but it's always good to talk to other people too and see, because not everyone is a good fit for your clients, right? Like, the same person isn't always going to be a good fit. So when you're building these relationships with other people in the industry, it also helps.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge, right? It's, you never know who life you just changed by 3 simple steps, right? Like, it sounds so simple. Get a journal, write it down like it already happened, track your success, know where you're going, right? And then know what it's going to take you to get there, and then network. Thank you. It doesn't sound hard at all.
No, it's not. It's just, it's commitment.
Yeah, just committing and being consistent and do it even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, committing and being consistent. Those are definitely the biggest two.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. I will have Mariana reach out to get a blank link of your tracker, if you don't mind sharing that with us. And after this is done, it's recorded. So we're going to send you a copy, so you can also send it out to whoever you want to.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.